This video isn't going to be a normal review. It's not even going to be a normal AsaiNeroTran original. I just wanted to talk about a game I thought was pretty cool. Also, if this video looks and sounds a little bit weird, it's because I wanted to try something different with my setup. Let me know in the comments if it worked or not. Anyways, let's get on with the content. Brave Troubleshooter, or just Troubleshooter for short, is a really cool tactics RPG currently in early access on Steam. I first found out about it because it came up as a sponsored post while I was scrolling through Facebook and Instagram. After a few days of looking over Troubleshooter's social media and Steam pages, I decided to check it out. The first thing I noticed about Troubleshooter was the beautiful art. Everything just had so much color, and the actual art style was really nice. This art can be seen throughout the game. It's the primary visual imagery for cutscenes, the character portraits, what you see on loading screens, it's everywhere, and it's really great. In-engine models don't look as good as the hand-drawn art, but they still look fine, and you don't usually see in-engine models up close and personal anyway. The only time you'll see these models in detail is when you're changing character loadouts. Aside from that, you'll mostly be looking at that gorgeous hand-drawn art. Troubleshooter plays a lot like the modern XCOM games. Obviously, it's a turn-based tactics RPG. Each character's turn is broken down into 2 actions, which allow you multiple options. You can move then attack, you can move then defend, you can move and then move some more. It has XCOM's cover system, where you have full cover, half cover, compromise cover, and no cover. It even has XCOM's Overwatch ability, where you hunker down and counterattack any enemies that cross your field of view. It's all very heavily inspired by XCOM, right down to the actual visual presentation. Some things are different though. Troubleshooter's Steam page says it's an RPG with strategy gameplay, not a strategy game with RPG elements. In this way, it tries to be closer to Final Fantasy Tactics than XCOM. For instance, victory and loss conditions are generally pretty simple. Instead of get this thing and bring it back here, it's more defeat all enemies, or survive until help arrives. Additionally, stat progression is pretty different. You'll level up like any normal RPG. You can gain extra skills and perks via the game's masteries. Masteries are equipable bonuses that do a number of things, from boosting stats to granting abilities. You can earn masteries by defeating enemies, but you'll primarily get them from mastery crafting. To craft higher level masteries, you'll need to use other masteries already in your possession. Each mastery has one or more specific primary masteries that must be used, as well as additional masteries that only need to be within a specific mastery subcategory. Items can also be crafted. The system does get a little confusing or even overwhelming at first, but once you get the hang of it, it's pretty simple. Just fill in the blanks as dictated by the game, and you'll craft whatever it is you're looking for. Another thing that sets Troubleshooter apart from XCOM is the absence of base building. I believe this was purposefully done to focus on individual character growth and customization. It's still kind of a bummer though, because a big part of your progress is how you start off as an unknown independent troubleshooter and slowly work your way up into a troubleshooter corporation. Being able to partake in the rise of your own troubleshooter corporation would have been pretty neat. Maybe they'll add this in a future update, but it does feel like a bit of a missed opportunity. As you build up your troubleshooter corporation, you'll meet several different characters. Some will just be allies, while others will join your corporation and fight alongside you. According to the game's Steam page, there are currently 7 different recruitable characters, each with his or her own unique strengths and weaknesses to help you find a team that suits your specific playstyle. It's here in the focus on individual characters and the dichotomy between these characters that reminds me the most of Final Fantasy Tactics. This is further cemented in place thanks to melee units like Albus running around with a sword in a gunfight. I like the balance of it all. It does need some improvements like clarifying how certain mechanics work, but overall the gameplay is fun. It has a decent amount of variety and the core mechanics work well. The music rules. The tracks I dig the most are the relaxing, soothing songs. In no particular order, here are some of my favorite pieces. I hope at some point developer Dandelion puts the original soundtrack up online. It's really great. The story takes place in the fictional futuristic city of Valhalla. Valhalla is full of crime, to the point where citizens have grown numb to the violence. To counteract Valhalla's growing criminal activity, a new institution was created: the Troubleshooters. Troubleshooters are special civilians who can partake in any surplus police work. Think of Troubleshooters as private detectives mixed with superheroes mixed with vigilantes. They're kinda like Batman, except they're government approved to be judge, jury, and executioner. So I guess in that way they're more like Judge Dredd. You play as Albus Bernstein, a young upstart troubleshooter returning to his childhood home in the Windwall district to find work. While there, Albus also sets out to discover the secrets of the catastrophe, a massive destruction event that occurred 10 years prior to the beginning of the story. Along the way, you'll fight various enemy factions, from street thugs to religious zealots and beyond. First things first, the English translation is a little off. It's mostly fine, but some parts read like transliterations instead of translations, so it takes a bit of work to discern what's being said. Additionally, there's no English voiceover option, and any spoken dialogue will be in Korean. But the translation's not horrible, far from the worst I've ever seen. I'd say the script is about 90% fine, with the remaining 10% just needing some general spelling and some tactical corrections. Plus, most of the game is not voiced. Speech is almost exclusively limited to action exclamations and effort noises, so the lack of English dialogue isn't a huge problem in the grand scheme of things. Other than that, the story is pretty good, and development team Dandelion is still adding to it. The current build of the game has the tutorial, 35 scenario stages, and 23 repeatable stages with more content on the way. Whatever little issues I have with Troubleshooter come with asterisks since the game is still in early access. Dandelion's a small game studio in Seoul with a staff of maybe 6 people, so I can understand these little issues. But the game is constantly being improved. While making this video, there were 3 or 4 updates in between my recording sessions, and I only recorded over the course of 2 days, so it's obvious they're dedicated to improving the game. I'm not super far into Troubleshooter yet, but everything I've done has been pretty fun, and since Dandelion's been working non-stop on patches and updates and new content, I'm sure it's only going to get better. If you're into XCOM and or Final Fantasy Tactics, I'd say Troubleshooter is worth a look. I'll put a link to the game's Steam page in the description for you to check out. And also, once it's out of early access, maybe I'll do a full review. Let me know in the comments if that's something you're interested in. In the meantime, what'd you think about this video? Would you like to see more like it in the future? Let me know that in the comments too. Otherwise, check out the videos on screen, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.